The second round continues on the second day of spring in College Park, Maryland. It's the number 2 seed Terrapins play host to the 7th seed Washington out of the Pac-12. With Brooke Weisbrod, Roy Philpott here. Great to have you on board. Here's an updated look at the bracket in the Lexington region. Washington defeated Penn on Saturday. Maryland toppled Iona. The winner of this one will face off with the winner of Oklahoma and Kentucky in the Sweet 16. And Brooke, we've got plenty of star power to talk about, led of course by Shatori Walker-Kimbrough and Kelsey Plum, two of the more dynamic players in the country.
So Plum gets 24 points in the first round against Penn, but she had to take 25 field goal attempts to get there. Meanwhile, Shatori Walker-Kimbrough, one of the most, if not the most dynamic wing player on the country. They want to get back to a third Final Four, a third straight one. It's going to have to run through Walker-Kimbrough, as you see a perfect 10 of 10 from the line.
So we take a look now at our Capital One starting lineups. First up for the Terps, coming in as the number 2 seed, 31-3 overall. Brianna Jones averaging nearly a double-double per contest, 15 and 10 this season. Keep an eye on her as we go through. And for Washington, UW coming in at 23 and 10, 11 and 7 in the Pac-12. Plum, the 4th leading scorer in the country. Chantel Osohor, one of the bigs that gets the job done in a variety of different ways as well. She has been dynamic this season for Washington. Needs to have a big game here tonight for the Huskies to have a chance, some 2,700 miles away from home. Just about set, ready to go. Washington coming off its first NCAA tournament victory since 2006, and the Huskies control the opening tap. Veteran officiating crew led by Sue Blah. And a big matchup for both of these teams. Maryland with aspirations of getting back to the Final Four for the 3rd straight year. Washington happy to survive this far, but with their eye on the prize, and that would be an upset in College Park. And an early basket by Collier. Baseline is good.
You could see early on Washington trying to do what they can to get Kelsey Plum that high ball screen. They like to allow her to create off of that. As we both discussed today, it's going to have to be a lot of other players to step up and take those shots. And really, Roy, in a game like this, you need players that call for the ball, right? You need to have those players that have that look in their eyes to say, Kelsey, we know this is a task you can't do by yourself. We're here to help.
Inside, poked away by Osohor. Washington in transition. And with a steal and a late whistle, foul will go against the Huskies. And our first look at Mike Neighbors in his 3rd season in Seattle. What a great job he has done, directing his team to 23 wins this year. Back-to-back NCAA tournament appearances, Brooke. And boy, a unique basketball mind in our conversations with him last week.
Yeah, you better be ready to respond quickly, because he is a guy that just wants to pepper you with ideas and thoughts and just really great scenarios about where he came to be and how he learned. And right now, I think for an early start for his club, for Washington, you want to be more aggressive on the offensive end. The first play out of the game, we saw Kelsey Plum looking for those high ball screens. But you see Maryland, they're not going to sit back. You got Chloe Pavlik playing body-to-body defense on Plum.
Maryland, of course, the deeper team. Washington only played 6 players in their victory against Penn on Saturday. Rebound by Shatori Walker-Kimbrough. Here come the Terps. Walker-Kimbrough leading the country in three-point percentage this year, 54% from bonus land. Tapped out of bounds, and it'll stay with Maryland, led by Brenda Fries in her 14th season. 2 straight Final Four appearances. National championship, of course, 10 years ago back in '06. And she has built a brand, an identity in College Park the last decade and a half.
Yep. A pro development factory here, and that's what you can really look to as you see Pavlik get going with the 3-ball. Maryland, like a lot of other programs that aren't named UConn, put players at the next level, and for me that's important. And you look at brands like Notre Dame that's out there, Maryland, Louisville, University of South Florida. These are all programs that put pros into the next level. European, the WNBA. So a lot has been said and had for the development of the women's game.
Plum comes up short in her first attempt. Rebound to Maryland. Beautiful ball rotation, and Confoy on the baseline connects. The sophomore from Ohio, the corner triple, and Maryland out to an early 8-2 lead.
She's a shooter, Roy, and it's good for Maryland to identify her early on, because she's been a player who just 8 points a game, but those are 8 very big points. Meanwhile, you're shooting over 40%. It's a terrific value to a Walker-Kimbrough and a Brianna Jones, your stars, and now they have some outside shooting. But in Washington, they got to hit a couple of these. Talia Walton with 18 points in her first round game against Penn.
Walton, a prolific three-point shooter. The kick ball by Collier. And you like this ball movement early for Maryland.
Oh, against the zone, you want to penetrate, swing it around, and quickly before Plum's able to rotate to the corner. Allows for that open look from three. Against the 2-3 zone, you want to drive, you want to dish, look a little short corner, look middle, and be able to run an offense. As you can see, coming off high ball screens against the zone. You can throw in some screen and rolls here and there.
And we talked to Brenda Fries last week about the brand, the identity of her program, and I said, I've talked to a lot of analysts and a lot of people close to the sport, and they all have deemed you as their sleeper this season. How does that make you feel to think of your program, as consistent as it's been, to be deemed a sleeper coming into this tournament? And she said, you know what, guys, it's really annoying because we feel like we've established our brand enough already.
We want some respect. Well, you earned a Big Ten championship. I think that certainly helps. And it's tough in a year where UConn has shown and displayed a level of greatness that might not be duplicated for a while. I mean, we're seeing a historic run by the Huskies. It's hard. It's going to take away some of the other attention that a program like Maryland definitely deserves. But this year, there's no amount of attention I think UConn did deserve.
After the make by Collier, trims the lead to 1. Maryland basketball. Facing a 2-3 matchup zone. Walker Kimbrough baseline in traffic and rejected, or at least bothered by Osahor.
Good help side defense from Osahor. Didn't try to do too much, didn't try to block the shot, just got into position and waited for Walker Kimbrough to take the shot.
Again, Washington playing really only 5 players in the victory against Penn. You wonder if the legs are going to be there even with the day off.
Why you're seeing a zone, and you've got to be very conscious of fouls. I mean, you play one sub for 5 minutes. You have no room to make mistakes, to foul in a game like this. You want to knock off a 2 seed. You got not much room for error.
Shot clock resets off the miss. A 1-point lead for Maryland, the 2 seed in the Lexington region. Jones in traffic, too strong, but gets it back. Walker Kimbrough, foot on the line. And hauled in finally by Ashley for Washington. Huskies will pick and choose their moments to try to get out of the fast break. Walton, not bashful early. Rebound to Howard.
You have to be concerned with Maryland's transition offense, so you won't see a lot of Washington players crash the board. So if they do take those threes, and there are a few players inside the line, it could lead to the fast break runouts as long rebounds.
Open look Confroy, in and out. And tapped away, it'll stay with Maryland. And the Terrapins, the number 2 seed, with a 1-point advantage halfway through our first quarter in College Park. First round action, we take you back to Saturday afternoon. Brene Mosley got Maryland off to a fast start, 9 first half points. Iona, though, was able to hang around. The sharp shooting of Gilmore kept the Gales in it, but Maryland pulls away late for the 16-point victory as the 2 seed. And then Kelsey Plum took over for UW in their victory against Penn, their first tournament win since '06.
Yeah, super strong. Ended up with those 24 points, but she also had 7 assists, and surprisingly, did not earn many of those points at the free throw line, just 5 of 6. And that's usually her game. She does it pretty well.
A volume shooter, 4th leading scorer in the NCAA, as you see right there. Very important for Kelsey Plum to get off to a good start tonight, and a good start for Washington, only trailing by a point as a 7 seed, and a de facto home game for Maryland as the host, as the 2.
Maryland's a team that likes to see how their opponents start the game, how they respond, and then they kind of react to that, which is such a different philosophy, I feel like, than what a lot of college coaches I spoke with this year. So I like to ask the question, if the first 5 minutes start the way you like them, what things happen? And Brenda Fries she waited, and then she told me she likes to see what the other team's going to do first. And as you can see, Maryland, their game is getting into the transition. They want to force you to miss, get out in the lanes, run, and finish. But they're not an impatient team. They're willing to work for the shot they want.
Terrapins with 6 straight misses. Brene Mosley checking in for the first time. That's 3. And with possession, whips it outside. Furman, a straightaway miss. 0 for their last 7 are the Terrapins, and here comes Washington. And Kelsey Plum in control on the fast break. Her first points.
Got to take the opportunities when you get them, in a 7-0 run now for Washington. So a terrific start for the Huskies. This is not an easy place to go into the opponent's home floor. You're playing on the floor where there's a lot of great crowd noise. You've got just postseason anxiety, trying to work through that and do it at the beginning of the game. You've just come off, you haven't made many subs.
Walton
Can't
for
ask
three.
for a better start than that.
That is absolutely right. 12-8, Washington out in front, approaching 3 to play in our first quarter. And Walton now with 2 3-pointers here in the first 10 minutes. And you see the numbers this year. She has been a nice complimentary scorer to Kelsey Plum. Mosley feeds Jones inside. Can't connect. Osahoor again bothered that shot.
If Osahoor can bother Jones once she's on the catch, because she's already getting great position. How about that for Plum? Well, I feel like we're back at UCLA.
Certainly has that vibe. No question about it. 15-8. And Kelsey Plum has scored or assisted on every single basket for UW so far.
You got to love the spacing right now for Washington. And all it takes is just a little hesitation, stutter step dribble. See Kelsey Plum, Brene Mosley giving her that space. You got to know, when Kelsey Plum, when those feet stop, they're not going to stop for that long. She kind of bounces on the balls of her feet because she's got that quick release on her jump shot.
Maryland calls a timeout. We remind you as well, the NCAA Women's Championship presented by Capital One continues tonight at 9 Eastern on ESPN2 with second-round games. Check local listings for the game in your area. And, of course, all games are streaming live on Watch, ESPN, and also the ESPN app. What strikes your fancy in looking at these matchups?
Well, we just talked about UCLA, a place where we saw Kelsey Plum have a dynamic first quarter a few weeks ago. That matchup, you've got Jordan Canada, good guard from there, Courtney Williams from South Florida. Ooh, it's just got, like, guard power oozing out of it.
Yeah, Williams makes it look so easy. Well, that's right. I love Courtney Williams and what she brings to the table for Jose Fernandez's team. Meanwhile, 10 straight misses for the Terrapins. Back to work, trailing by 7.
Not that they're having difficulty getting the ball where they want. Jones in position on the block. It's a matter of time before maybe the Terps feel comfortable and get a few rhythm shots. A lot of times they get into rhythm, Roy, by getting some steals and deflections, those fast break points. So if Maryland does start games slow, which they do, remember, go back to that philosophy. They like to see what other teams are doing first and then respond back to it.
Washington right now in the midst of a 13-0 run after trailing 8-2. Approaching 2 to play in the first. He actually thought about it, then loses control. Stripped by Mosley from behind.
Exactly what Brene Mosley did a few times against Iona. You let your player go by you in a sense because you got some good help side. It leads to a steal, then leads to a 3.
Walker Kimbrough, her first basket. She has 3. The lead is trimmed to 4. 54% from bonus land this year for Shatori Walker Kimbrough. Plum in traffic high off the glass.
Wait, with the volleyball roll to get back on her feet, sprinting down the court. How about that?
Plum with 7, and Washington back in the matchup zone. So this is the exact kind of start that she needed, and also Washington needs to be able to have a chance to pull off the upset. And men's ice hockey skates towards the Frozen Four in Tampa. Tonight, original semifinals begin Friday at 2 Eastern on ESPNU. And also watch ESPN. And of course, make sure you visit NCAA.com, the home for all 90 NCAA championships. Frozen Four in the Sunshine State.
Why not? Just flirting, a little ice break every now and then.
Absolutely. Trapping zone pressure now for the Terrapins. Osahoor goes to work. Off the glass, spins it home. Her first basket, and Maryland extends, or rather now trails by 8. And Washington has been on fire to start this one.
Good awareness, good aggressiveness from Osahoor. You get the ball right at the free throw line, and instead you could have just brought it up to shoulder level, figured out what to do with it, but instead you recognize you got a power dribble layup available for you, so take it. Go back to that play, see here, catching it actually right about the three-point line, so a couple of strong dribbles. Brene Mosley not going to be able to rip that ball out of her hands. No chance.
Gilling checking in for the first time. Osahoor to the bench. One of the rare substitutions we'll see from Washington in this game. Gilling played just 5 minutes in the victory against Penn as Plum misses from straight away. And that was the lone substitution made in that contest. So, Brooke, that'll also be something to watch. The legs of the Huskies to see where they are. Made a nice run in the Pac-12 tournament, and by their own admission ran out of gas against Oregon State the 8th-ranked team in the country in the semifinals, losing by just 2.
I gotta say, Maryland hasn't run a whole lot on the Huskies just yet because Huskies playing solid defense, keep them to a one and done, or when they miss, they're getting back in transition. So it's not so much fast break points that would lead to that exhaustion just yet.
Mosley back iron, the putback no good. Walton controls, 5 seconds remaining in the first. And Walton has it poked away. It'll stay with the Huskies.
Good heads-up move for Renee Mosley, just being a factor, being around plays, getting involved. I know she loves that. As a player, sometimes you just like being disruptive. Somebody trying to take a big shot to end the quarter, just get a piece on it. So not yet.
Tiara Leslie checking in for the first time as Mosley goes to the bench. 2 to shoot, Osahor. And that'll do it for a fast-moving first 10 minutes. And the Washington Huskies, the 7th seed in the first on a 17-3 run. UW leads it by 8. Kevin, thank you very much. An updated look at the bracket. Of course, the top half, #1 seed Notre Dame and Indiana. As you referenced, Kentucky and OU tied. They'll face the winner of this one. And a surprising start so far, Brooke, in our first quarter. Washington getting out to this 8-point advantage on the strength of 53% from the field. And Kelsey Plum, 7 points. Exactly what the Huskies needed to have a chance in this one.
Against a team like Maryland, you have to get off to an early start because once you dig yourself in a hole, they're a very comfortable team with playing ahead, from playing from behind. They're a complete team. They know how to get to the Final Four. So your best chance is to start off the game with some confidence. But can you sustain that? Can you put that together for a 40-minute performance? Yet to be seen. But here we are in the second quarter, and Washington with an 8-point lead behind that young lady's performance so far, coming off a great game, 24 points, but had to do it, on 25 shots. You want to have maybe 15 to 17 shots in this game, I think, for Kelsey Plum and get everybody else involved, which she's done nicely.
Already 7 attempts in this one. 8-point advantage for the Huskies, a minute into our second quarter. And Confroy rims out. Walton the board. Washington picking and choosing the times it wants to get out in transition, playing only 5 or 6 players in this ball game. Plum in traffic, turns it over. Confroy comes out of there with a steal.
Good quick hands from Chloe Pavlik.
Pavlik thought about it, sends it outside now to Mosley. Terrapins back to work. Confroy drains another shot from bonus land. 6 points for Confroy. And Maryland pulls within 5.
So although it seems like Maryland hasn't quite, gotten that juice, we're not seeing their offense flow just yet. Well, keep in mind, you still got players in the game who are shooting over 40% from 3. So even when you're just passing around the zone, you got some players that are going to be able to knock down the shot. Confroy, a terrific 3-point shooter. Mosley loves to drive and dish here. And once Walker Kimbrough comes back in, you got the leading one in the country shooting.
Pavlik the miss, poked out of bounds. 8:08 remaining here in our second quarter. And coverage of the Division I Men's Basketball Championship Regional Semifinals begins Thursday on CBS and TBS at 7 p.m. For more information on game times and listings, go to ncaa.com. Quick look at Diamond Stone and the Maryland men's program. Great win yesterday against Hawaii, advancing to the Sweet 16, getting the job done under Mark Turgeon.
I really love the way Melo Trimble handles the ball. He's so tight with his movements, his crossovers, the pull-up jumpers. So pretty and impressive to see a Maryland team that I wasn't really sure, because Trimble could be a streaky kind of a shooter too as well, right? And then Diamond Stone, a young guy you weren't sure if he was going to be polished and ready for postseason play, has been impressive.
Washington opens up, missing its first 2 shots from the floor here in the second quarter. Maryland just 1 3-pointer. The lead is 5 for the Huskies. And now make it 3. As Furman connects, 19-16.
Starting to pick apart that zone. You see some different pockets of scoring. But ultimately what they're looking to do, right, is get right in the middle of that paint, and you've got some other options that can open. Defense doesn't come to you, take the shot. If it does, you have the kick out available.
More active defensively here in the second 10 minutes. Furman the board off the miss. This is where Maryland can be so dangerous in that secondary break. Confoy an open look. And Confoy now her third made shot from distance. And just like that, we're tied at 19. A timeout for Washington. Maryland in the midst of an 8-0 run.
Washington calls a 30-second timeout.
5 possessions so far for the Huskies in the second quarter. They've missed all 3 field goal attempts plus 2 turnovers. No surprise, Maryland getting the job done, led by Kristen Confoy.
Yep, this quick 8-0 run from Maryland feels a little UConn-esque as quickly as they put points on the board, but that's what you get. You've got shooters always in the game, ready to fire. There's confidence that just absolutely bleeds through this team. You're not going to play for Brenda Fries unless you're ready to get the ball and shoot it.
Confoy has already attempted 7 3-pointers. She's connected on 3. It's been a game of runs. Maryland's 8-0 run after trailing 2-0 to begin this one. And Washington on a 17-3 advantage inside the Walton here to break the 8-0 Maryland run on the backside of Washington's run.
Those easy scores are so important, right? Those help break up some of the moments where you try to beat an 8-0 run, or you've had 2 or 3 possessions where you can't score. You've got to be confident that you can go back to something time and time again. And right now, I think you've got an advantage. Shatori Walker-Kimbrough on Talia Walton. That's a good body-to-body matchup. Walton, a little bit stronger than Kimbrough. Maybe can body her around on the block.
Shatori Walker-Kimbrough just 1 of 6 from the field to start this one, including that last miss that rattled out. And the foul goes against Howard. That'll be her first.
But the thing is, Shatori doesn't get rattled. So you won't see a change of expression in her face this whole game. She might be frustrated with herself right now. You won't know it. You'll just see her play elevate each possession.
It was a good old-fashioned set shot by Osahor that was off. Poked away by the Huskies. Plum dives. And 2 players on the deck. The held ball favors Washington. We talked about the importance of the Huskies getting off to a good start, particularly Kelsey Plum. She's done that and then some. 3 of 8 from the field. Has also recorded 4 dimes. 4 minutes into the second quarter, and Washington exactly where it wants to be. Dolphins back-to-back Big Ten tournament championships, back-to-back Final Four appearances. Trying to make it 3 in a row this year. Step back Walton in the paint. And controlled by Furman.
I couldn't identify who said it, but you could hear when Walton got the ball, maybe her teammates saying, take her, looking for those one-on-one matchups. Got to be able to do it in a game like this. That's why I say Walton is actually pretty good in a tough matchup to make for Maryland. Ooh, Shatori Walker-Kimbrough doesn't often react after a call. And she thinks that one's clean.
And a pair of old friends going toe-to-toe here. They both play basketball together with USA Hoops, and Tori thought she got that one cleanly. I'm not sure I'm going to argue with her.
Well, let's take another look. Maybe there's a little body here, perhaps on the right arm to left hip, maybe, and then some contact after that. I don't know.
Returning from Maryland, number 42,
Plum connects at the strike, 8 points. The all-time leading scorer in Washington history. Rare miss at the stripe, approaching the halfway point of our second quarter. Mosley, count it, was silky smooth. We saw that in the first half against Iona on Saturday.
And I feel like those are the exact instructions that Brenda Fries was just giving to Brene Mosley. You could see her kind of pointing ahead, saying, I need you to drive, I need you to get into the paint, make something happen. Speaking of, she took the advice also.
Plum with 10 points and a chance for 11.
Maryland foul, number 12.
Give and go. Yeah, you're not going to beat many players backdoor, especially not Shatori Walker-Kimbrough, but Kelsey Plum has an explosive first step. You're certainly saying a lot coming off a knee injury. You have to rebuild that, just think how to walk, how to run, how to improve your lateral quickness, and then to trust your knee again. It's great to see her be so explosive and so much even stronger than last season.
Inside Jones and an offensive foul. Brianna Jones whistled for the personal. It'll be Washington basketball.
There's Osahor setting up.
Maryland foul, number 42, Brianna Jones. That's her first, 4th on the team.
Look at the job Chantel Osahor has done in this game.
Feet well inside that short circle.
Go back and check the positioning there. But I believe you're right. The officials are human too. Here's a steal by Mosley against Osahori in traffic. Count it. And a good job by Chantel to lay off to make sure you don't get a chance for three the hard way.
Brene Mosley plays so much bigger than her frame. I mean, give it up for the 5'7" guard. I feel you in your height, but man, you play like you're 6 feet tall out there tonight.
Walton, one of the top three-point shooters in Washington history, also leads the program in terms of career growth. Howard comes up with a steal. Mosley with a bounce step, spots Howard down low. 4 minutes remaining in the first half. We're tied at 25.
So Dumfries reminding her team to get big. And stay in what looks like a 3-2 zone.
Trapping pressure off the edge. Walton makes him pay. 27-25 Huskies. She's got a certain component to her game that makes it look easy. 10 points now to go along with 2 boards. Leah Walton, the second leading scorer. A versatile player in the Pac-12.
She's playing without hesitating. That's, I think, the biggest advantage to her game tonight. And Brianna Jones has had difficulty getting that ball at that spot and finishing tonight. Osahor is giving her issues. Let's go back, though, to that look from Brene Mosley to Melina Howard. Sprinting the floor, recognition, splitting the seams, 2 of them. 2 pairs of seams there.
Chantel Osahor, meanwhile, doing a great job in the post against Maryland's bigs, bothering shots, rejecting shots, only 2 points. But she has been a factor protecting the rim so far against this Maryland team. Mosley swatted away. That was Walton.
It's hard to think Mosley didn't feel Walton on her side. At least they contested.
Powell with a rebound against Howard and whistled for traveling.
So I think it's about the time of the game where Maryland's starting to sense, okay, Washington is definitely for real. We're going to have to work extra hard because right now they have so many weapons besides Kelsey Plum. That's beating us. Exactly what Washington had to do.
Right, a piece for both teams. We sensed some of that, though, in the first game against Iona, where it took maybe a quarter and a half for Maryland to kind of fill out the Gales. And once they did, they understood that we got to play our A game to make sure we take advantage of home court. Jones, her first basket.
So you will not see Maryland fall off. Their energy levels won't fall off. They're a high stamina type team. High-level performers. You don't make back-to-back Final Fours without being able to dig deep and find ways to beat teams that are giving you trouble, especially in the postseason.
Also hold a rebound. Hits the deck and a late whistle will go against the Terrapins. And coming up on the Northwestern Mutual halftime report. Highlights from games across the second round of this year's NCAA tournament. Including highlights Indiana, Notre Dame, OU and Kentucky right now. Kentucky with a 3-point advantage, approaching the 8-minute mark of the second quarter. And the Aggies and Seminoles as well. Now goes against Jones. That's her second.
Returning from Maryland, number 22, Tierney Furman.
Tough calls for Brianna Jones because I see Chantel Osahor and her battling on the block, and I see Osahor looking for any chance to project that charge, to take that contact and sell it. Seen her done it a couple times. She got called for the charge Brianna Jones did. Then on the other end of the floor, if Osahor's going to take contact and she can sell that off as a foul, get that call, that's a huge advantage to get Jones out in foul trouble. But not if you're going to turn it over and give it back.
Back-to-back steals. Mosley directing traffic, now double teamed out of the matchup zone. Maryland doing a very good job going inside and out on offense. Tori Walker-Kimbrough.
That's what I think every time she runs back down the floor. I'm cool, we're good. Just let me handle things.
Well, it is a calming influence.
Yeah.
And a confident player.
The teammates, everybody says if there's a moment in the game that feels unsure, like this one, but oh man, does she take some contact on that play.
Osahor whistled for her first foul, but perhaps caught the brunt. that last collision.
Number 0, Chantel Osahoor.
Long rebound, Walker Kimbrough on the run out. And yeah, Osahoor looked like she took the contact with the forehead. Walker Kimbrough just below her chin in that upper chest area. Well, either way, it looks painful from both ends to see Walker Kimbrough pop up as quickly as she did. Very surprising. Let's hope Osahoor can do the same.
Junior from Phoenix, Arizona. Mike Neighbors went out to recruit a different player, and as he was out and about in Chicago, I believe, he saw Osahoor playing on a court nearby and just was enthralled with her performance and what she brought to the table. And he's done a tremendous job now in her third season in the UW program. She's done a great job protecting the rim in this one so far. Washington is 7 seed, trailing by just 1.
And willing to give up her body, taking the charges, going after those 50-50 balls. Getting tough on the block.
93 seconds remaining in the second quarter. Number 2 seed Maryland with a 1-point advantage. Contested pass somehow reaches its destination, and Furman with the layup. She now has 4. Maryland in the matchup zone. Collier, 8 to shoot to Plum. Against Conroy. The step back. An 18-second difference between the game and shot clock. Maryland can go 2 for 1. Mosley with the bounce.
What an effort to control the basketball for Brene Mosley. So she's got to go fast break transition, lightning quick crossover, catch back into it, and then with the floater in the finish. But again, she makes it look easy.
Welcome our national audience. Maryland, a 3-point, making a 5-point advantage. Washington's led by as many as 8 in this first half. Brooke Weisbrod, Roy Philpott, great to have you on board. And the Huskies, led by Kelsey Plum and her 11 first half points, giving Maryland all it can handle so far. Shot clock is off. The Terrapins can play for the final shot.
Gotta think Mosley's going to try to break it down off the dribble again. So successful at it.
Mosley, short. And as time expires, that'll do it here in a fast-moving first half. Well, Maryland 29-1 when leading at halftime. The Terrapins find a way to grab a 5-point advantage here right before intermission.
Yeah, but a little balance from the Washington Huskies. Walton 10 points, Plum 11. Maryland looking to put this thing away.
Halftime, 34-29 our score. Terrapins the 2 seed out in front as we get things underway for the start of our third quarter. 34-29, Brooke Weisbrod and Roy Philpott on hand. Maryland outscoring Washington 23-10. A very fast-moving second quarter that concluded just moments ago. Let's take a look at our first half highlights. Kelsey Plum got things going early for UW, Brooke.
Usually it's Maryland in the transition, but Washington did a good job when they could. Defending well, getting the rebound, and going out to run. There's Kelsey Plum finishing with the left hand. Loves to do that. Loves to stay on that left side of the floor. So strong, and then dishing off too. I thought she did a good job of recognizing to get her teammates involved. Talia Walton with 10 points. And then Maryland really did a good job sharing the basketball around the outside of the perimeter on the zone. We had some 3-point shots. 9 really coming from Kristen Confor. She was the one that knocked down that 3-point shot. Washington, you see, not as efficient from behind the 3, but within 2, both shooting the exact same.
Kelsey Plum, the 4th leading scorer in the country, the all-time leading scorer in the history of Washington basketball. She's got to find a way to get going once again to start this third quarter. Here's where we are at right now in the Lexington region. Winner of this one will battle the winner of Oklahoma-Kentucky. That game approaching halftime in UK with an 8-point advantage over the Sooners. And that game will be played Friday this week 16 in Lexington. So an interesting development there, especially if UK can find a way to survive Oklahoma. Chantel Osahoor back on the floor after a rough dive hitting the deck at the end of the second quarter, and all smiles, so that's a good sign.
Yeah, good to see, because she and Shatori Walker-Kimbrough absolutely collided. Walker-Kimbrough getting the brunt of that contact in her chest, and Osahor took it right in the forehead. To see her back up and smiling and back in the game, because as we said, Washington, they're not looking to sub.
Played 6 players in the first round victory against Pitt. They played 6 players so far here tonight. So if you're Washington, Brooke, trailing by 5, I still have to believe you like your position on the road against a team as talented as Maryland.
Yeah, I think it's a great first half, and a start where you want to come out firing again and look to play as aggressively as you did in the first quarter. For Maryland, a team that gets better as the game goes on. They like to feel out their opponents and get a sense of their game plan first before they attack.
Actually wide open, throws up an air ball. I'm going to start for the Huskies. Maryland back to work. Inside looking for Jones, batted away by Osahor.
Jones appeared to be open, but Osahor with his very long arms, and I'd like to see a bounce pass go into the wing, or from the wing, I should say, into Jones.
Actually throws up an air ball in the first possession, travels on the second. Not even a minute into our second half. Maryland has reached the last 2 Final Fours, back-to-back Big Ten tournament championships. One of the most consistent programs in the country under 14th year head coach Brenda Freeze. And Conroy fouled from behind. And a bad personal there against Collier. So she picks up her first. Conroy at the stripe, 80% this season.
The Huskies starting off the second half in a zone, so I don't think that's going to change much. Maryland, we've been looking in the first half, they're trying to penetrate into the paint. Conroy hitting some threes, but you see, it doesn't take much, right? You knock down a couple threes, and a lot of times the defense will rush at you. Well, simple ball fake, just head into that short corner, get yourself another look, and then smart play also to get yourself a free throw line. This is a new wrinkle for Maryland now to see some pressure. I haven't seen them turn over the Huskies too much today.
And they'll do it on this possession after the first free throw attempts of the contest for the Terps. Maryland back to work. Walker-Kimbrough. Against Plum. Feeds Jones against Osahor. Again, Osahor bothers the shot. Walton the rebound.
Well, the way that Osahor is guarding that shot from Jones, she's a better scorer than just a one shot type of score. So she's got to take that step back and create a little bit of separation.
Plum.
Nice pass from Plum.
And inside, basket's good. It's Gilling, her first points of the NCAA tournament. Back to a 5-point advantage. Important for Washington to hang around here early in the third. In and out for Howard. Here come the Huskies. Ashley. Plum, a wide open look. Count it. 14 points for Kelsey Plum.
Made sure that ball was in her hand and her feet were set. You didn't feel any anxiety about her taking that shot. Just want to make sure she had complete comfort before releasing it. And a couple of strong defensive possessions anchored by Chantel Osahor in the paint.
Walker-Kimbrough connects with the response and lead us back to 4. Walker-Kimbrough now with 8.
Just don't know if Washington will have the legs they need to carry them through to keep this game close and within striking distance of a win.
Walton an open look from bonus land, and that's what UW needs to do. 1-point game. 13 for Walton.
It's Walton's first points here in the second half, and she's got to continue to ask for the ball, make herself a part of the offense, be active on defense.
Walker-Kimbrough, pinball's out. Gilling the rebound. Here come the Huskies with a chance to regain the lead.
And Maryland with 7 offensive rebounds with just 4 second chance points. So the Huskies doing a great job of keeping Maryland away from second chance points.
Plum against Conroy. They need time on the shot clock. Here comes the high ball screen. Inside, Gilling connects. Washington back out in front.
I gotta say, I am so surprised. When Plum got off her feet, I thought, well, she's stuck. You're not going to find an outlet for that. But no, at the very last possible second, you get the ball to Gilling for the finish.
First lead since it was 29-27. Huskies with the advantage on the road in College Park, and here's a steal. Huskies with momentum. Plum attacking and fouled from behind by Pavlik. Plum's playing well tonight so far, Brooke.
She sure is. Off the high ball screen, hesitation that turns the corner sharply, and you trick 3 Terrapins into thinking you're going to pull up for that jump shot, and why not? Because you're pretty good at doing it. But instead, you give it up for Gilling, get that assist, and going back to how important it is for her to continue to keep her teammates involved, right? So she's got to be the leader out there, but you can't forget, okay, I can't be the one to just take all these shots. I got to make sure other people are involved. The calmness on her face tells a lot. It tells a lot about a clutch player who's willing to take her team to the next level.
A 12-4 outburst by Washington to begin this second half, and the Huskies getting the job done at the stripe as well. Lead is 3, approaching 6 to play in the third. Alton nearly coming out of there with a steal. Convoy a deep tray. Osahor the rebound.
Holding off Melina Howard with one hand. Meanwhile, Brianna Jones substituted out for Maryland. Could be an interesting time for Washington. You see their mindset still to attack the paint, get to the rim. It's going to be a bump foul on Collier.
That'll be her second. Walker Kimbrough trying to drive. And the Huskies now connected on 5 shots from distance. Keep this one close and now regain the lead. Are you surprised by what you're seeing here to start the third?
A little bit. However, you've got players who are willing to participate in this game and say, hey, I'm not letting Kelsey Plum just take all the action. You've got Walton taking shots and Osahor for just 4 points. What she's giving you defensively has been worth at least a dozen.
Back iron on the 3-pointer. Plum the rebound. 16, 2, and 6 dimes for Kelsey Plum. Washington team only will go about 5 or 6 deep in tournament play. Mike Davers trying to get the most out of this unit. Inside of the layup, Ashley.
Boy, I thought Ashley had an opportunity to get the ball to Collier. Instead, she saw a better one. She saw a clear path to the lane, passed up a wide shot. And how about that? Plum gets her shot blocked, right? Instead, she goes for the second effort, gives it up to a teammate who then makes a really big play. That was a huge score for Washington.
Inside to Howard, fouled again by Collier. And that's her 3rd personal.
Washington decided they're going to stick around this game. They might leave out of here with a win if it has anything to do with plays like this. We said DePaul, Louisville in the second round, destined to happen. And what do we get? A 1-point game.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Out of the timeout, the lead is 5 for Washington. Brooke Weisbrot, Roy Philpott, great to have you on board. A 9-0 run for the Huskies in the last 2:46. Has given the team from the Pac-12 nearly 2,700 miles away from College Park, Maryland, a 5-point advantage. Air ball by Walton.
That was a rush 3 and a simple, quick foul from Plum, who raises her hand, but may have stopped some transition points there. Those sometimes can go back to momentum killers, and you see the amount of miles this team's had to put behind them just to get here. Man, looks like our flight schedules. Add another 0 to that, we'll be right there.
Last week. Approaching 4 to play in the third. Washington trying to pull off the upset in College Park. And the 2 seed in the Lexington region. Here's another turnover. Maryland now. More than 4 minutes since its last points. Inside Gilling. Off the glass with a bounce. 7-point lead.
Washington's size is affecting Maryland. And you got Melina Howard in the game, who's a backup for Brianna Jones. Jones hasn't had the best of nights, but Osahor has been a huge bother to Brianna Jones. And right now, Maryland just trying to find an answer on how to defend these Washington Huskies, who are getting easier looks than I think a lot of people who play this Maryland team.
On 2 by Furman, trims the lead to 5. How about the job from Matilda Gilling off the bench, averaging just over 2 points per game, has 6 so far tonight, with Collier having 3 personal fouls. Osahor the set shot. Rattles out and out of bounds to Maryland.
Boy, it still catches you. I could watch that 1,000 times over, and it would still make me turn my head up just a little bit. How are you going to shoot a three? You didn't even leave your feet. But really, the answer was given to me watching her launch a chest pass from the opposite free throw line and almost making it. Maryland's got some strength.
3 minutes remaining in the third. Trip to the Sweet 16 awaits tonight's winner. Conroy had the hot hand in the first half. Pulled off here in the second. Washington's outscored Maryland 16-6 so far in the third quarter. Jones a drop step short. Osahor again bothers that shot.
And you see this time though, Jones tried to take a step back, right? Face her defender and make a move around her. But Osahor, she was ready and she had some help.
Walton is short. Rebound to Furman. Brianna Jones just 1 for 6 in this contest. Mosley back iron, and there's a basket for Jones. 16 points per game. Has struggled so far tonight, but a big hoop there to trim the lead to 3.
A big offensive rebound for Maryland. That has not been a big part of their game. 6 second chance points.
And welcome to College Park, Maryland. Kelsey Plum the basket. She has 18. And a surprise so far as UW with a 5-point advantage. Under 2 to play in the third quarter. Brooke Weisgrove, Roy Philpott. Another steal for the Huskies. And Talia Walton has it stripped. And will stay with Washington. Well, if you're just tuning in, Kelsey Plum, the 4th leading scorer in the country for Washington. 18 points. Talia Walton with 13. Maryland had a 5-point advantage at halftime before the Huskies, right down the midst of an 18-8 run, came roaring back. And really, it's been Plum, Walton, and Osahor defensively getting the job done for this Washington program.
And meanwhile, Shatori Walker-Kimbrough is trying to lead the break here, but it leads to another turnover. Only 8 points for the game. Brianna Jones, 4 points in this game. If you would have said by the third quarter, both of these players would be in single digits, I would have thought, no way.
I've been surprised by what we've seen so far. Walton attacks. And the foul on the floor. Maryland already in the bonus. The Huskies not quite there just yet. And you see Mike Neighbors in his 3rd season. An unconventional style. Electing to play basically 5 players in their run in the Pac-12 tournament. And doing the same thing in the dance so far. Washington beat Penn in the first round, and so far a 5-point advantage here in the second. And here she is, Kelsey Plum.
Plenty of time. Get a good quality shot. But Washington, they haven't had a lot of this running down the 30-second shot clock. They've just taken opportunities when they've presented themselves. Not worried about running a full-fledged offense or sets. They're going off the screen and roll, pick and pop, and creating on their own.
Lead is 7 for the Huskies. Under a minute to go in the third. Walton with 13. Kimbrough's been quiet in the third. Jones inside, nearly traveled, and the held ball will favor Maryland. Now Talia Walton, the 2nd star of this one so far, Brooke.
Love the way that she's looked to attack. I mean, we said this game could not be just about Kelsey Plum, and I thought Talia Walton to start this game said, Kelsey, give me the ball, I'm ready to shoot. She's hit 3 threes and taken 1 less shot than Kelsey Plum.
Walker Kimbrough, a little shake and bake. Baseline, short. Osahor the rebound, her 10th. Chantel Osahor quietly getting the job done in a number of different ways.
That was a shot for Kelsey Plum. Should have taken that. On the flip side, the possession before, a tough pass from Shatori Walker-Kimbrough into Brianna Jones, who together in the second half have just 4 points. Feels like to me Maryland's trying to force too much of this offense, trying to go too much inside rather than just playing ball.
Shot clock is off. 5 seconds remaining. The up and under, well short. And controlled by Washington in a quarter that was controlled by the Huskies. Washington outscores Maryland 20-8 in the third quarter, and the lead for the 7th seed is 7, headed to the 4th. Could a surprise be in the works in College Park? The 7th seed Washington Huskies, a 7-point advantage against number 2 Maryland. in the Lexington region. Brooke Weisbrod, Roy Philpott here with you. Start of the fourth quarter. And don't forget, after tonight's NIT matchup between South Carolina and Georgia Tech over on ESPN, film the Sports Center at night with John Anderson and Lisa Kearney. And highlights from all the women's NCAA tournament games, NHL, spring training, and the association. It's Sports Center at night after tonight's South Carolina Georgia Tech game. Also on Watch ESPN, the app, and of course the ESPN app. Huskies basketball. Start the fourth quarter. The miss by Walton, controlled now by Mosley for Maryland. Winner will face off with the winner of Kentucky, Oklahoma in the Sweet 16. And there's Mosley starting to get started.
She is so creative. When she picks up her dribble, and she makes the most out of the most steps that you're allowed after you pick it up, doesn't she? And then once she's up there, the direction of the ball and her arms, the placement, everything can change 3 or 4 times.
Stuff on the stat sheet, 8 points, 6 dimes, a couple of rebounds for Brene Mosley off the bench. Plum in traffic, was rejected, wanted the foul. And Washington will maintain possession with 9 to shoot. Maryland started the second quarter as the more active team, trailing after the first. Will it do so again here in the fourth? 3 on the shot clock. Plum, contested 3.
Whoa.
Kelsey Plum.
No hesitation, no panic though. Just a quick in and out, give yourself a little balance, a little separation rhythm. Good end of the shot clock. 3 under pressure for Kelsey Plum.
Ties the largest Washington lead of the contest. Mosley defended by Walton. And the held ball arrow favors the Terrapins. Kelsey Plum, this is one way to get the job done now with 21 points.
In the last second, you can't panic. You just got to figure out the best way to get some open space. And Kelsey Plum can do that. She doesn't need a whole lot of show to her game, right? Just a little shoulder shake, hesitation, and balls at her feet.
There's a turnover. Furman shuffled the feet. 30th game this season, Kelsey Plum has gone over 20 points and is the 4th leading scorer in the country. Very comfortable in this role.
Tonight for Maryland, sorry to worry about points off turnovers. They've already scored 21, and that's been the key to their success this year.
Plum again, feeling it. Actually, skies for the rebound and fouled from behind.
That's some extra effort there. Alexis actually has had a couple of moments in this game where she's made some mistakes, looked back at Plum and tapped her chest, and it's a good way to make up for some of those. I love that hustle from the senior.
7 of 19 from the floor is Plum, all-time leading scorer in Washington history. The Huskies trying to make the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2001. It's been a while. Plum. Rebound, Gelling. Got it on the putback. Walker Kimbrough controls.
That's a shot Gilling has to go up much stronger for. Rush through it.
Furman connects. Her 8th point of the night. The lead is 6.
Furman's kind of a very mobile four. You could put her in that middle area between the block and the 3. She can hit some jump shots. And Osahore's not going to step out that far, typically, to guard her.
Plum too strong.
A couple takes lately by Washington. They've had chances to extend the lead. Instead, they're keeping this window open for Maryland, who you feel like a run is coming on at any given time.
Walker Kimbrough right on cue, trims the lead in half. It's now a 3-point Washington lead. Walker Kimbrough, 11 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, and a timeout on the floor. Now Satori Walker Kimbrough fighting her way with a long shot to get Maryland going.
Never pressured, just ready to turn it up, ready to knock down the 3, and ready to get her team back to another Final Four. Winner of this one will face off with the winner of UK and OU, and as Kevin mentioned, that one currently a 6-point advantage for the Wildcats. Top half the bracket, the #1 seed Notre Dame. In impressive fashion, holding a double-digit lead against IU. Back to live action in College Park. There's an upset in the works against the #2 seed in the Lexington region.
Set shot. Osahor finally connects from bonus land, Brooke.
Got to be able to guard that and get up close to her, because if you don't contest, she will take it. And yeah, she's not confident enough, certainly, to knock it down. Surprising shot selection, though. Wouldn't have thought that that would be the 3 to take, but you know what, Washington, they have not hesitated. They haven't run their offense much. They're just looking for screen and rolls and chances to get looks. This double team has worked all night long, giving Brianna Jones so many problems. She's had just 4 points tonight, but look at this shot. Have you ever seen anybody shoot a set 3 like this before?
I want to tell you there's an element of Bill Cartwright to that, but that's not even accurate.
No, Bill had a whole wind-up. She's got like a...
But she does flip it with the wrist. That's what I'm talking about.
Very true.
Inside, off the glass, no good. And Washington heads back to the charity stripe. A reminder, the journey to the Frozen Four in Tampa continues with regional semifinals and finals as the puck drops on a live tripleheader Saturday. All starts at 4 Eastern on ESPNU, and also watch ESPN. Make sure you visit NCAA.com, the home for all 90 NCAA championships. Brianna Jones, almost as many points as fouls in this one. That's a developing story. And so is Kelsey Plum, now with 22 points. 6 minutes to go. It is crunch time for the number 2 seed Maryland Terrapins, playing in front of the home crowd.
They've had to make a substitution a couple of times for Brianna Jones tonight, and one of the differences in the game has been Tierney Furman. I really think her positioning in here gives them a different look at the 4 spot. She can step out and hit some longer range jump shots, bring Osahor out of the paint.
6 minutes to go. Howard outside to Mosley, contested 3, back iron. Osahor the rebound, her 11th. Plum in traffic off the glass. Kelsey Plum, 25 points, a chance for 26, and the largest lead of the night for UW.
Well, Chantel Osahor, let's go back again. Defense, she has given so much effort tonight, scoring just 7 points. How about that bounce pass? Yeah, I love that. The bounce pass, lead into the fast break, lead into the and one opportunity and connection for Kelsey Plum. Boy, I really, really like the effort Chantel Osahor has given during this 8-0 Huskies run.
Coming in the most critical time of this game. Howard inside against Osahor. Spins it in and out. And Chantel Osahor, the rebound, her 12th to go along with 7 points. And Kelsey Plum will slow down the pace of this one. Washington basically playing with just 6 players. Bounce pass, Plum in traffic again, short. Baseline is off. Another board for guess who?
Let's see what Washington's going to do with this possession. A 10-point lead. You don't feel comfortable with. 5 minutes to go. You definitely don't feel comfortable with if you're Washington, but you got to continue to stay aggressive. You know Maryland is going to make their move. They're going to start turning up the pressure, double teaming, doing what they can to get deflections. But meanwhile, you've got one of the best scorers in the country, led by a beautiful pass from Osahor. They'll finish. Yeah, she likes that.
Washington Huskies, the number 7 seed out of the Pac-12 with their largest lead of the evening. Call it 11. Under 5 to play in this ball game. Brooke Weisbrod, Roy Philpott. Maryland has won in the NCAA tournament at an unprecedented level by Terp standards under Brenda Freeze. A national championship in 2006. Back-to-back Big Ten tournament titles. The last 2 seasons, 2 straight Final Four appearances, all that on the line. Playing at home, no less. And the Terps in desperate need of a basket here. Mosley inside. Maryland looks out of sync, and they have for the better part of the second half, Brooke.
They really have it. You start off with just 11 points in the first quarter, so a slow start. Better second quarter effort. However, they just haven't gotten into a flow where you felt like Maryland was Maryland, the dominant Maryland, scoring some points off turnovers, but they haven't been dominant from the inside.
Walker Kimbrough, a big triple there after the miss by Osahor. The lead is trimmed to 8.
This game's got to go in her hands now. She's got to take over. You felt like Brene Mosley's been trying to get things going. Brianna Jones has not had terrific luck on the inside. When you go to your All-Star, that is Shatori Walker Kimbrough.
Welcome our national audience here in College Park. Washington Top, trying to pull off the upset. Washington Top 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 t College Park. The lead is 8 for UW on the road. Under 4 to play. Xfinity Center, the home in this region of the Lexington region. Washington has really done a tremendous job in this second half, outscoring Maryland by 13 points. Walton, elbow. And Jones, the rebound. And Maryland starting to get some stops. They have to find their offensive rhythm.
And Brianna Jones just 4 points in this game. Shatori Walker-Kimbrough with 14. This has not been a ton of scoring yet for the Terps, but I just said Shatori Walker-Kimbrough has got to take over this game, and definitely starting to do that. 17 points.
Leading three-point shooter in the country, 5 for 9 from bonus land tonight. Washington led by 11 just moments ago until the back-to-back trays. One of the finest players in the country. Kelsey Plum with 26 points with possession of the basketball against Conroy. Now the switch from Jones, the three, short. And tap to Walker-Kimbrough. Only 4 players on the defensive end for UW. An injury on the far end of the court. And that does not look good. Gilling hit the deck hard. A lone player off the bench for Mike Neighbors' team in this basketball game. And is grabbing currently one of her knees. Meanwhile, on the other end of the floor, Talia Walton just picked up her second. Gilling, the senior from Denmark. And Brooke, let's take one more look at that last sequence as she's helped up.
She's contributed so much to this game as well. 5 rebounds, 6 points, 3 of 4 shooting. Played just 5 minutes in the first round. And off the offensive rebound, trying to go after it. She goes down hard.
Nice round of applause by the crowd here in attendance at Xfinity Center. And here's how it went down just a few seconds ago.
Gilling trying to fight for that rebound. Like I said, got tangled up, and that's a tough loss for Washington. And at a time, it was critical trying to keep that momentum going. You felt Maryland starting to fight back. So Washington really needs to dig down, get a stop here. Maryland, meanwhile, just get a quality shot.
Walker-Kimbrough scored the last 9 points for the Terrapins. That's 32 down near the bottom of your screen. Launches from 17, an air ball. Plum the rebound. Approaching 2 minutes to play.
So I don't think you hold the pace up too much, Rory. You don't want Washington is a team that all night long they've gotten scoring by staying active, not going into half-court motion sets, none of that. They're just trying to go off of high screen and rolls, drive and dish, and see what the defense gives you.
Mike Neighbors with just 1 timeout remaining. He'll have a chance now to talk things over with his club as we take a look at tonight's Capital One Cup impact performance. And no surprise, Kelsey Plum, the 26 points, the 4th leading scorer in the country. She's been phenomenal. And an all-around effort tonight for Plum as well, because you got 5 rebounds, 6 assists. And to start this game, Roy, I thought critical. It was critical importance for Kelsey Plum to get her teammates involved, and that's exactly what she did to start this game. She wasn't forcing her shot. But if you're going to give her that kind of look, she's going to pull up and take the 3. What I do like is the way that Washington has utilized that high screen and roll so that when Maryland does switch it and Plum gets that mismatch, say with a Brianna Jones, where she can get a little separation, some bounce in her step, she's going to take that 3. And I trust her to take a 3 as much as I do to take her to take a 2. Washington's offense has been built around Plum and the high ball screen action. She'll get it again here from Osahor. And draw a double team in the process. And fouled 30 feet from the basket. Howard in the wrong place at the wrong time.
So Plum developing her game so much, not just to score, but able to dribble, keep that play alive. So a lot of players might panic, the double team coming toward him. Nope, keeps the dribble and stays low, able to draw the call.
Terrapins back-to-back Big Ten tournament championships. Their first 2 years in the conference. 2 straight Final Four appearances, all on the line here tonight, playing at home. Plum. Outside Walton, that's her spot for 3.
Are you kidding me with the patience on that play? Wow, Kelsey Plum off balance, finding Walton on the wing.
18 points for Talia Walton. 1:12 remaining.
Let's watch this again. First you had the high screen by Oslahor, the second screen from Collier. Plum get knocked off balance, finding Talia Walton on that wing. Look at Mike Neighbors. He's a trip. So much energy he coaches with, so much passion.
That's the 3rd personal against Walton. Approaching a minute to play. Maryland needs a bucket.
1 minute remaining.
And here's Brene Mosley. Elbow jumper. Needed that one, and she got it. Mosley now with 10 points and 10, and make it 7 assists, along with 3 boards, and a quick timeout called by Brenda Freese. 63, 57, 55 seconds remaining. Washington just 1 timeout left. And here's an updated look at the bracket. The winner of this one will meet the winner of Kentucky, Oklahoma in the Sweet 16. The game will be played Friday in Lexington. Top half Notre Dame handling Indiana so far. Stanford, South Dakota State coming up later on tonight. What a game this has been. And Brooke, we've been surprised by what we've seen so far. And credit Washington, Kelsey Plum, and also Mike Neighbors.
What's amazing, too, is to see the kind of impact a player like Chantel Oslahor has had. 7 points, yet 14 rebounds, 3 assists, and a couple of very timely charges.
And a foul on the inbounds will put Washington back at the free throw line. The Huskies in the bonus. That'll go against Chloe Pavlik, her second.
That's her second, 5th on the team.
Well, we've seen crazy comebacks this year's NCAA tournaments, both on the men's and women's side. Maryland needs one of their own right here.
Don't get that Sharpie out just yet. You know better.
But for this past weekend, you have to.
That's right. You better respect it.
Plum with 27. Make it 28.
You need to find a quick score. Brene Mosley either drive or drive and dish to Walker Kimbrough's got to be hanging out on the wing.
Mosley against Ashley with the left hand short. Rebound by Collier. He was immediately fouled. 44.8 seconds left. The Washington lead is 8.
Never felt a sense of panic from Maryland in this game. And that might be a bad thing at this point. You never kind of saw them kind of get angry with the player, angry with the steadiness of the game. Just felt like Washington has been the one so far, at least, to establish aggressiveness, to look for more opportunities to score. Maryland felt to me like they were trying to force an inside game that was tough to respond with, because Brianna Jones met her defensive match tonight in Chantel Oslahor.
Collier missed the first, connects on the second. 9-point advantage. Terrapins have to hurry. Mosley, the quick 3, who's fouled. She comes up short. And the whistle near side will go against Ashley. Her first, but that'll put Mosley to stripe to shoot 3, Brooke.
I mean, that is the absolute last thing you want to do. They tell you, don't foul the three-point shooter, and although it did not look like a foul from here, it doesn't matter. Brene Mosley at the line, able to get this game to within 2 possessions, and you've got a ton of time left. Maryland, keep in mind, this team has scored 21 points tonight off 12 Washington turnovers. See Mosley, she's able to knock these 2 down. Either way, you're going to see full court pressure.
Mosley with 11. Mike Neighbors in his 3rd season in Seattle. What a job he has done. We had a fun conversation with him late last week. Hard to imagine he has survived 2 heart attacks in his coaching career. One when he was 29, the other when he was 36. And he told us almost jokingly, in the first heart attack, he bumped Carlos Delgado out of the operating room in Cincinnati because his condition was much worse than a major leaguer.
Returning for the Terps.
You get a sense, too, of why he approaches his team, his coaching style, kind of his life in the way that, well, you know, I've already been through some pretty harsh scenarios, so he lives his life pretty lighthearted the rest of the way.
And his team really feeds
They
off of
play
that.
that way, yeah.
Kiara Leslie just picked up her first personal. Older brother CJ Leslie played at NC State. And now it becomes a free throw shooting contest for UW, and Kelsey Plum is who you want at the stripe. 28 points tonight, 89% free throw shooter this year, and right on target 9 out of 10 this evening. And Mike Neighbors sensing that this one may be in his grasp.
I just really love Kelsey Plum telling us the other day, hey, make sure you watch my defense. Watch this team's defense.
She said that to you, not me.
Okay, fine. She said it to me. But I really like the way that the team has responded. I mean, to keep Maryland, a team that's easily can score 80, 90 points at 60 in the NCAA tournament, wow. At home, against a team that's basically playing zone, that's basically not substituting anybody.
Washington has not been to the Sweet 16 since way back in 2001. Terrapins just utilized one of their 2 remaining timeouts. Maryland has been as dominant as any team this side of Connecticut in recent years. Back-to-back Final Four appearances, and that's certainly in jeopardy. The winner of this one will match up with the winner of Kentucky and Oklahoma Friday in Lexington. Notre Dame just 40 seconds away from winning its second-round matchup with Indiana. Stanford, South Dakota State coming up later this evening. Well, we wondered if Washington would have enough gas left in the tank, only playing 5 to 6 players the last couple of weeks. The answer so far has been a resounding yes. Terrapins need to hurry. Furman spots Mosley. And the three-pointer on the way. She connects. 5-point game.
Three-point basket by Mosley.
And a brief stoppage in play as they'll check to make sure that indeed was a 3. 29.9 remaining.
See Brene Mosley, a little shake to get herself open. Certainly looks like a 3-point shot from here. Just enough to get actually away from her defensively. You see trying to close out, thinking you're going to go left, maybe pass it to the corner there, get another 3 off. Brene Mosley, the senior, not ready to let this season or her career go.
So our veteran officiating crew, Sue Blah, leading the charge tonight, taking one more look at it, and by our account it looks as if she was indeed well behind the 3-point line. Freeze getting an opportunity to talk things over without utilizing her last remaining timeout.
We've got players in the game who are probably the best 3-point shooters. Walker Kimbrough, the best in the country, of course. Confro, seen her do damage. Furman can step out. And Mosley, we just saw her knock down 3.
And welcome to our national audience. Right now we're in the middle of an official review as Brene Mosley connected from 3-point range just seconds ago, working against Ashley. And by our judgment, she was in fact behind the 3-point arc. One more look at it. This will make it a 5-point game. Just over 29 seconds remaining. The number 7 seed Washington Huskies trying to pull off the upset against the 2 seed Maryland Terrapins. Brooke Weisbrod, Roy Philpott, great to have you on board. And Washington has been dominant so far in this second half. And I think you hit the nail on the head earlier too, Brooke, when you suggested that Maryland at times just looked like it has lacked a sense of urgency in this one.
Yeah, we haven't seen enough stretches of it. You see an 8-0 run here, there, a 6-0 run. But I'm ready to see a Maryland team come out here and play angry. A Maryland team that is ready to get back to a 3rd Final Four. And I have not seen a whole lot of fight out of the Terrapins tonight. It seems like Washington's been the more aggressive team. I see a lot of hardwood space between white shoes and that white line.
It's a 3.
That's a 3 by all accounts.
The previous play is confirmed as a 3-point
And
basket.
finally, the officials confirmed the call. The most important thing is to get it right. And after the brief stoppage, 0.1 second is also added back to the game clock. 30 seconds remaining. Maryland needs a steal. Washington has been inside the top 10 of the country in free throw shooting most of the year. And in fact, was there last season as well as the foul. We put Walton at the line. Furman picks up her first, and Talia Walton, her first free throw attempts of the evening.
22, Tierney Furman. That's her first.
Now this may be one of the players you want to foul 68% this season for Talia Walton, but then again, she's been a go-to performer for Mike Neighbors down the stretch.
Well, when Maryland has had to foul, they've done it quickly, and then they've come back and gotten the game within 2 scores when Mosley hit that 3. So they're playing it out right now, and they just come down again. Another quick score. Just teams cannot waste a whole lot of time. It's maybe 1 screen and a shot.
Three-pointer Gillespie. Too strong. Plum the rebound. Fouled from behind. And right now Washington can sense that this game is theirs.
What a big shot and bigger rebound for Washington in this game. Coaches will tell you all the time, it can come down to rebounds, and no bigger one right there. And then Kelsey Plum able to hold on to the ball, stay within her mindset to know, hey, I'm a pretty good free throw shooter. I'm just going to keep on to this ball. Try to extend this game even more, but wow, what a great job she's done tonight of getting her teammates involved. 31 points, but she's also got 7 assists, and I thought a lot of that work came early on, whereas she got Talia Walton involved in the offense. She looked for Osahor, passed it off to Collier for a jump shot.
Time winding down, perhaps on Maryland's season. Mosley the miss. Osahor the rebound, finally corrals it. And fouled from behind, just 10.4 seconds remaining. And the Washington Huskies out of the Pac-12 in the perfect position to pull off this upset.
Maryland foul on number 22, Tierney.
What an unlikely run for Washington, who had to travel thousands of miles, beat a 2 seed on their home floor. Do it with 1 sub, who we certainly hope will be okay.
Ellen went to the bench about 6 minutes ago. Lead for the Huskies expands to 10. And on the verge of tying the largest lead of the evening. Time winding down, Mosley. Walker Kimbrough indecisive. And the dig 3 on the way is short. Off the glass, 0.9 seconds remaining. And that'll do it. The Washington Huskies, for the first time since 2001, headed to the Sweet 16.
Even the players, Roy, I don't think that they believed it until they heard that horn go off. You did not see one Washington player start to celebrate. But when that horn went off and everything changed, what a win, what an effort Kelsey Plum and her teammates had to have to get a win against a 2 seed on their home floor.
Mike Neighbors in his 3rd season, getting this program dancing into the 2nd weekend of the tournament. Plum with 32, Talia Walton with 20 to lead the charge for Washington. On the road, the Huskies pull it off. In the midst of the celebration, here's an updated look at the bracket. Washington will face off with the winner of Kentucky and Oklahoma. That's coming up Friday night in Lexington on ESPN.
I know a lot of people had that Maryland-Notre Dame matchup ready to go.
What a victory it was. Our final score, once again, 74-65. Kelsey Plum, 32 points in the big dance to go along with 7 dimes and 6 assists. What a win for the Pac-12. What a win for Washington. 74-65 as we send you back to the studio with Kevin Nagandi.